I want to chat today about the use of antiparasitics in our pets, specifically spot-ons containing imidacloprid and fipronil. Now, for those not in the know, non-vets watching this or listening to this, these two chemicals, imidacloprid and fipronil, are contained within most of the common spot-ons that we use to treat and prevent fleas and ticks in our dogs and cats. An article in The Guardian the day before yesterday, Tuesday the 25th of March, has brought this topic front and centre, and I believe it's an issue which is going to be of increasing importance in the years ahead. And I'll read out part of it and then I will discuss the issues mentioned within this article and hopefully get some feedback and some comments from friends and colleagues about this issue. So, the use of toxic flea treatments for pets should be tightly restricted, the Liberal Democrats will say in Parliament on Tuesday, as these chemicals kill wildlife, including fish and birds. The government is coming under pressure to control the sale of pet flea treatments containing neonicotinoids such as fipronil and imidacloprid after it announced a ban on the chemicals in pesticides on farms. However, the sale of flea treatments to pet owners is still unregulated. Now, that's not quite true that they're unregulated. They are regulated to the extent that most of them are prescription-only medications. Anyway, sources at the Department for the Environment, Food and Rural Affairs said they had commissioned the Veterinary Medicines Director to look at options for potentially restricting the use of these treatments. Lib Dem MP Rachel Gilmore, secured Tuesday's debate in Parliament, is asking ministers to come up with a plan and a timeline to restrict the use of these chemicals so they're not bought off the shelf or needlessly prescribed by vets when there are other alternatives to prevent fleas. She says, cleaning up our waterways is a key mission of my party, and properly regulating the use of fipronil and imidacloprid, as well as these other similar chemicals, is part of that agenda. The damage that these products can do is catastrophic to our natural world, and we should be doing more to make sure that these products are not getting into our waterways. I hope to hear some constructive points from the Minister about this in their response. And an explainer, continuing in the article, cats and dogs are widely treated with topical treatments which are spot-ons, which include insecticides to prevent fleas. Vets often recommend regular flea treatments as a preventative measure, even when dogs and cats do not have fleas. But scientists now recommend animals should not be treated for fleas unless they have them. At the moment, the treatments can be bought by anyone in pet shops around the country. Research has found that these treatments enter rivers, killing the wildlife within, and the pet owners using them risk contaminating their hands with the chemicals for at least 28 days after applying the treatment. A recent study found songbirds were using dog and cat fur tainted with the treatments to create their nests, and scientists found a higher number of unhatched eggs or dead chicks in nests where there was a higher incidence of insecticide. Following on from that, as a side note, I can tell you I did read last year in an environmental journal, there was a study done on the Thames, water samples from the Thames, and they did find an alarming level of contamination with fipronil currently in the River Thames, which obviously goes through London. So again, going on to say, there's growing concern about the impact these treatments are having on biodiversity. Imidacloprid and fipronil are powerful insecticides. 1 monthly flea treatment for a large dog contains enough imidacloprid to kill 25 million bees in the UK, and that's obviously a big concern because our honeybees are vital to the pollination and the biodiversity of our flora and fauna. In the UK, fipronil is an ingredient in 60 different veterinary products. Imidacloprid is in 21 veterinary products. These chemicals have been banned from agriculture. Yet, unfortunately, Environmental Agency has found fipronil residue in 98% of river and lake samples and traces of imidacloprid in 66% of river samples. So there we go. Now, just to continue, vets, colleagues watching this would be aware of this. It's just an average veterinary hospital such as mine. We have Prinocate, a monthly flea and worm treatment, contains imidacloprid. Simparica Trio, a monthly tablet, contains imidacloprid. Moxidector, Parental, Serolaner. Very similar chemicals. Simparica Trio. Simparica tablets, Serolaner. Very similar. NexGard combo for cats contains eprinomectin, praziquantel, cefoxilaner. Yeah, again, these would be cousins of imidacloprid. And lastly, Stronghold, one of the commonest ones out there and most reliable, contains oxydectin and fipronil as well, I believe. So there you have it. Just as you say, the average practice such as mine has got a lot of these chemicals out there and we're using them. And the problem is, from a public health point of view, nowadays animals are living indoors, they're on the bed, they're in the bed, and there are public health concerns regarding introduction of these parasites, mange mites, harvest mites, fleas and so on being brought into the house. Some of these parasites are zoonotic in that people can get them. This is why we treat these, we treat our pets, our household pets, as regularly as we do. Now, in my practice, I recommend a medium risk. We think about it in terms of risk. And although the products are licensed monthly, I don't advocate use of them monthly. And I prefer to advocate them on a 2-monthly basis, on the basis of using a bit of common sense and thinking about what's the risk level in the average pet that's out there. So we're in a position now whereby I can see our model, our protocol of advice for public health and animal health change as these environmental concerns become more and more to the fore. And if and when these environmental concerns make their way into the public consciousness, the veterinary practices will have to act in terms of being more selective in advocating which products to use and when to use them and how often. When I became of this issue about a year ago, I approached one of the big veterinary wholesalers about a product which was available for the testing of feces for parasite eggs. Now, currently, equine vets and people who have horses and large animals will be aware of this. There's a very good technology out there, new machines to test feces, to test animal dung for the presence of worm eggs and parasite eggs. And I have approached the company that make one of these machines for equine use, for testing equine dung for parasite eggs, and I've asked them, will they be able to modify their software for small animal use, and can I buy one as soon as it's ready? And they actually assured me that yes, very, very soon the software will be in place and we'll be able to sell you one of these, and we'll get back to you very soon when the software is available and when we can sell you this feces testing machine which has been modified or developed for small animal use. And currently none of them have gotten back to me. So I'm taking that to mean that the technology at the moment is not up to scratch, and we don't have a handy user-friendly testing machine for small animal use to look for or search for parasite eggs, worm eggs and so on in these animals at the moment, which is a pity. The only other option I could offer people who wanted to test would be skin scraping to test for parasites, and we do that if there's an itch or a scratch. We do skin scraping to rule in or rule out parasitism. So my take on it would be, in the future we're going to be using a lot less of these spot-ons, and either the tablet form or the spot-on topical form of these antiparasitics. We're going to have to become much more selective about these in the future. But as I see it, becoming selective about them will only happen when we can rely on user-friendly testing equipment to help us be selective in terms of testing our patients as to whether they have fleas, they have worms, and do we need to treat them, and so on. And until then, we're going to have to observe public health guidelines, and literally dogs that are indoors living side by side amongst people, we are going to continue to use these chemicals for as long as they're licensed on a regular basis. So I'd be very interested in hearing what colleagues or clients have to say about my thoughts in that regard. And if anyone has any news out there about testing equipment for pet feces, for the presence of parasite eggs, worm eggs, do comment and let me know. And otherwise, if you like and follow on A Pet's Life with Des the Vet on Spotify, or contact us on apetslife.ie. Thanks, folks.